Good morning, Mr. T. It's Karen Bonita from the third period. And today I'm basically talking about the new discussion post of how I found a song that ties into the story of Tuesdays and Morris. At least one aspect that I got from it. Um, what's the song called? The song is called "Am I Wrong?" by Nico and Vince. The song basically it says different things as, are they being wrong for thinking outside the box? Are they thinking, are they wrong for living living life to the fullest? Are they wrong for choosing the path that most people wouldn't? And I feel like this represents more so deeply and so far me. Because I truly feel like more does live a life that most people wouldn't in his position. He chooses to be strong, courageous, a family man, a brother, cousin, whatever it may be. He chooses to be there not only for himself but for other people, even when he can barely be there for himself. Even when he can barely clean himself, when he can barely feed himself or clean himself, he still chooses to show up, fight for himself and for loved ones around him. When most people just sit back and be like, okay, I can't do certain things anymore. I'm gonna sit back, relax, ring this old bell of mine, and just anytime I need help, I'm gonna lay on my bed and have my nurse come and help me, and just be a spoiled, sick man. More chooses to be different. He chooses to be different, right? One example that I found was on page 105, and it goes like this. Moore's approach was exactly the opposite. Was exactly the opposite. Turn on the faucet, wash yourself with the emotion. It won't hurt you. It won't only help if you let the fear inside. If you pull on it like a familiar shirt, then you can say to yourself, all right, it's just fear. I don't have to let it control me. I see it for what it is. Same for loneliness. You let go, let the tears flow, feel it completely, but eventually be able to say, all right, that was my moment. That was my moment with loneliness. I think Mitch points this out because Morris shows this to Mitch. He said it to him, and he's not said it to him specifically, but he said it on the interview with Carpel, and he was like, yeah, I have my moments of grief, of resentment in the morning, but I don't let that stop me. I choose to still wake up, to still show up for my family, for myself, and for those around me in general. I still decide to fight this disease, even when most will lay down, even when most will just sit and pout about it around all day. But I choose to acknowledge what I'm going through, and I still choose to live life in general. Another example I found was on page 64. More acknowledges the culture, acknowledges what most people do. Like the song says, like, I'm gonna choose to think outside the box. Like most people wouldn't, but Moore does. He says this. He said, the culture doesn't encourage you to think about such things until you're about to die. We're so wrapped around egotistical things, career, family, having enough money, meeting a mortgage, and etc. Moore goes on to say a few more things. But he said, look, Mitch, be like me. Don't be like me, not necessarily, but don't be like those around you. Don't worry about it, but don't let it be your life. Worry about these things, but don't let them be your life. You have more things to think about: your health, your family, the more important sentimental moments in life. And more says, look, the culture doesn't encourage you to think about yourself until your last moment. It doesn't, you don't think about these little things that really matter in life until you're about to die. But Mitch, listen, think about them right now. Think about those little things right now when you can. While you're able to walk, breathe, talk, whatever it may be, while you're able to do these things, do them now. Basically encouraging Mitch not to be like the culture, to be different, to be set apart. And another example, more shows off his great attitude. You know, it's on page 115, and then it ties off into page 116, and it starts off like this. It's different quotes, right? But they are tied to the same idea, I guess you can say. First one says this: he faced this with Look, it says this: Maury lost his battle. Someone was now wiping his behind. He faced this with typically brave acceptance, etc., etc. And it says this: I asked Maury how he managed to stay positive through that. Mitch, it's funny, he said. I'm an independent person, so my inclination was to fight all of this. Being helped from the car, having someone else dress me, I felt a little ashamed because our culture tells us we should be ashamed if we can't wipe our own behind. But then I figured, forget what the culture says. I have ignored the culture much of my life. I am not going to be ashamed. What's the big deal? The big deal was that there wasn't a big deal. The thing was that once again, Moore decides to think outside the box. Moore decides not to think like the guy left to him, right of him, like the other sick person in the hospital, or in general, in another side of the world. Moore decides to be like himself. Like most people wouldn't. He decides to, like I keep saying, to live life, to enjoy life, to appreciate little things like the way the trees move, the breeze, the little ants on the side of the road. He chooses to live life once again. He chooses to spend time with his family, with Mitch, with multiple other students, doing interviews, letting people know like, hey, like you can sit around and mope around and just do nothing with your life and feel sorry for yourself. Or you could do better. Or you could take a chance on yourself and fight the fight that God put you in the position to fight, you know? One more example that I found is I think that's about it, sir. But yes, I appreciate you for tuning in, Mr. T. Thank you for this book. Once again, it's teaching me so much, about little things in my own life. I hope what I've said encourages you to live life, And yes, sir. Thank you once again. I hope this assignment is what you were looking for, or my assignment is what you were looking for. And yeah, I appreciate you. I hope you have a lovely day. And yeah.